if we follow the DC timeline, then what I think is supposed to happen is Elon Musk will send a crew to Mars who will accidentally uncover an ancient temple where a bunch of invasive aliens were frozen by the Martians, who will then be awoken by the astronaut, take over his body or assume his form, come to Earth, and there will be a secret invasion. And, you know, the Justice League will have to
There's a well-known theory that, I mean, facts are not endorsements, but there's a well-known theory that there was some kind of nuclear war between Earth and Mars, which used to be colonized because of what? Yeah, because of what? It's established. It's an established theory. You can look it up. So it's that there was some sort of nuclear war, some sort of war between Earth and Mars, which we used to be like heavily colonized, and that's why Mars looks the way it does now.
When did you read it? When did you hear about this?
When did I hear about that? I think I was in a YouTube rabbit hole at 3 a.m. a few weeks ago.
A long time ago?
No.
Because this is from Newsweek, March 22nd. Viral Mars conspiracy theory video claims humans lived on Mars and destroyed it in nuclear war.
There it is. See? YouTube rabbit holes. Yeah, so you can go ahead and read that. That was interesting.
A video in which a TikTok user claims humans once lived on Mars but rendered it uninhabitable in a nuclear war has gone viral. Thanks, Newsweek. It's the news that's fit to print. Huh? The false but entertaining... The false. Thanks for letting me know it's false.
Oh, cool, yeah.
But entertaining theory also states this war would have caused a nuclear winter, which is responsible for Mars's popular red color. Iron? What?
I don't think so.
It has currently been liked more than 230,000 times and shared nearly 10,000 times. That's not even that many shares.
I know.
That's nothing.
I didn't like it or share it. I just read it.
That's too
I
funny.
think that
it has been watched 979,000 times. What?
And that was from
our video
early.
with Alex Jones has double the views on that.
Right.
This is not. This is
viral.
Someone was bored and they wrote an article
This
about
is the stuff that comes up when everybody else is shadow banned.
I wonder
Yeah,
if people
right.
used to live on Venus. You guys ever think about that?
Wait. I'm sorry. I got to read this.
Wait.
The theory, explained by user Crackhead Joe Dirt.
Oh, cool.
So you know it's
Oh my god!
it's verified. Was put forward in response to the question, "What's a conspiracy theory that absolutely blows your mind?" Crackhead Joe Dirt states Mars isn't naturally red. Want to know what can cause a planet to turn red and change after a couple million years? If enough nukes were to go off on a planet, the first thing that would happen is a nuclear winter. Nuclear winter is the aftermath of nuclear blasts, causing ash that is so thick it blocks out the sun. Nuclear winters can last anywhere from 100 years and 1,000, depending on how much ash is in the atmosphere. After all the natural resources are drained up from the nuclear winter, the planet turns red from dust. My theory is that we've come from Mars after we drained all its natural resources and destroyed it with nuclear bombs. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The red color is iron. That you can like.
That was very weirdly
war.
worded.
Yeah.
After the resources are drained up, what the heck does
Drained
that
up.
mean?
I will ask Crackhead Joe Dirt what he meant by that.
Venus makes way more sense. Not Mars.
No,
Mars
Venus for sure, because the sun's expanding slowly. So it used to not be so hot on Venus.
Well, no, Venus is hot because of a greenhouse effect.
There's those
greenhouse effect.
They thought there were all these cometary impacts on Venus. It turns out they're like explosives from the inside. Like it cooked so hot that it blew out all this goo outside of itself, and there's all these like explosive holes where its insides blew out.
Hold on. Let me tell you a better conspiracy theory. All right, Mars makes no sense because Mars is too small. It has no magnetosphere, is my understanding, so it can't maintain an atmosphere. So the solar radiation just rips away the particles and blasts them off the planet. So we can't terraform it if we wanted to.
It's the oceans that cause the field.
Unless I guess, no, it's the iron core.
It's partly, ocean contributes a lot to it.
So I guess what we would need to do is like drill to the center of Mars and then get like Ben Affleck in the gang to launch those nukes in sequential order like in that movie.
Okay.
But
Armageddon.
I'll tell you what's better. This is sad. Okay, look, I'm sorry, Crackhead Joe Dirt. I appreciate your attempt, but let me school you for a second. Humans started on Venus, and Venus was Earth-like. But a runaway greenhouse effect from mass consumption and carbon emissions resulted in global warming. And the pollution started creating acid rain. The ocean levels started rising, and then once the American I shouldn't say American, but once the Venetian, Venus military of one country realized what was happening, they created the Ark Project, where they took the DNA samples from as many animals and species as possible and put it onto a giant space vessel called the Ark that would ferry as many people as possible and many animals and creatures to Earth to get here because Venus was being destroyed. So they flee, and then the Ark Project comes, and the Great Flood sweeps over Venus, wiping out all civilization from global warming, and then they land on Earth, and then what do we see in the fossil record? The Precambrian explosion. All of a sudden, around the same time, the fossil record just boom! Tons of different animals. Why? Because the Ark Project dropped a bunch of the critters, and then they started populating, and then all started dying around the same time. So now they appear in the fossil record as this great unexplainable elite. I don't actually believe that, but come on, let's be real. It's a way better conspiracy theory than we lived on Mars.
It might explain octopuses. We don't know.
Dude, for real. They look like the brain and stem creature inside our bodies.
Oh, and there's like weird DNA stuff, and there's just they don't make sense for Earth.
Venus looks like a jungle planet that got superheated. It really looks like it used to be a jungle planet.
We landed a drone there, and I think the Russians did, and it got crushed and just like melted or something. Yeah, I was watching this video where they claimed that we could make floating cities on Venus because the gases are so dense that we could make like floating platforms on gas. It's
just heated by like the geothermal heat from underneath.
I think it's just a hot planet.
Wow, that's a lot of energy potential to boil water.
Yeah, well, you know, we're on Earth. We'd go to Mars, but Mars can't sustain an atmosphere, is my understanding. So what do? We just trapped on Earth? You want to know what's really scary? You want to know the scariest thing?
Oh,
Europa.
Do I?
The universe is expanding, right? So eventually, on Earth, once the universe expands to a certain point, you won't actually be able to see any stars or planets or galaxies or anything because they'll be so far away that light traveling towards us doesn't reach us anymore. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there are going to be potentially creatures on this Earth, maybe, in a certain amount of time, they're born into existence and they look up at the black sky and they see nothing and they think, there's nothing.
So are we just getting prepped for that with all this light pollution?
No, look, we can look at the stars and we understand the universe exists because we can see the light that has reached us. But if the universe expands if it keeps expanding, eventually it'll be too far away for us to even see because the light will never reach us.
All they'll have is our records, and the teachers will teach the records until the records become racist, and they're not allowed to teach them anymore.
It'll be faith. It'll be magic to them. They'll be like, we know it doesn't exist because you can look out, there's nothing there. It was a bunch of dreams and hallucinations of these people. But here's the thing. If you can't see the stars, you can't conceptualize the concept of outer space and stars. So
you'd have to take it on faith.
No, but the concept wouldn't exist. What if there was something where like, you know, interdimensional elves would randomly appear and then one day, you know, 1,000 years ago, they all died off.
So it'd come out like...
To us, leprechauns don't exist.
Yeah, it would become a myth.
Right.
Like, you know, way distant out there are these things called stars, and, you know, eventually it would fade into...
And they would make movies about like stars coming to Earth and like giving people magic powers because they wouldn't understand what it actually was.
Yeah.
I think the universe is rubber banding. So it is accelerating now and it's getting bigger faster, but it will eventually slow back down and start to come back together and then pop again.
That's called Big Crunch theory. It was disproven a long, long time ago.
I think there's a lot of those happening, like popcorning all over the multiverse.
We had solid state theory. Do you know what solid state theory is? The universe is and has always been. Then we had eventually Big Bang, the Big Bang theory that the universe is expanding. And from that, we had a lot of people theorize something called the Big Crunch, that if the energy is being pushed out at a certain point, could it start coming back in? A better way to explain it is if gravity attracts, wouldn't at a certain point everything condense into singularities and then all start moving back towards each other?
Wasn't Stephen Hawking?
That was disproven.
Wasn't he one of the ones that disproved? He thought everything was shrinking and he like wrote a whole thesis on it. And then he's like, now I'm going to disprove my own theory. And he wrote a whole thesis on how it's expanding.
Yeah, so basically where we're at now is that the universe is actually accelerating faster and faster and faster as if the ball is rolling down the hill. At no point will the ball just stop and then roll back up the hill.
If it goes down and then goes back up and then back down and back up, you might start to see it because gravity's actually a pressure. It's pushing. It's not a pulling force. It's a pushing force. So it's possible that things are being expelled into a universe that's actually trying to push them back, but they're still in a rate of acceleration and will eventually be pushed back together.
So I guess it is still a hypothesis. When you look it up, they just basically say it's a hypothesis.
That's good.
There's something called the Big Bounce.
Settled.
Propose that it keeps going back and forth. The Big Bang, Big Crunch, Big Bang, Big Crunch.
That's interesting. Big bounces.
Big bounce.
Hey, regarding what we were talking about earlier, I think the CIA has given us disinformation. I think that's just rampant what the CIA does.
You think that they're giving it just to distract us and keep us talking about aliens while they do their dirty work?
Yes, and some of them maybe are truly deluded and making crazy theories, or they did hear from a friend something. I don't trust like hidden sources.
Well, I know one of the sources that red flagged me was the John Brennan.
Yes.
What happened?
Very
what in the article it said John Brennan says that we're stupid to think or arrogant to think that we're the only species. As soon as they quoted John Brennan, I'm like, ugh. John Brennan is just dirty, swampy. I love John Brennan.
Oh,
Me
yes.
too.
Yeah.
Me too, yeah, he's
really
great.
You know,
like
I would
Josie.
love
Best.
to. You know, it'd be like the best evening ever.
What?
Bezos, Zuckerberg, Brennan. You know, just
How would they
hanging
Barack
out.
enjoy their
Obama.
company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all these
Great
heroes.
minds.
That'd be awesome.
Smart. Bill
They
Gates.
are.
In a sauna, so
Yeah.
it's hot.
You know,
Yes.
actually, you know, it'd be really great.
What?
In a sauna with Brennan, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Alex Jones.
Oh,
Oh.
that might actually be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you have to wear like a shield though because he'd go off.
I'd pay for that.
Superheated
right?
Alex
Like, I'd like to
Jones.
be in this sauna at this time while whatever this conversation is begins.
buckets
very
of
interesting.
cold water.
I'd
so
watch
no
it
one
on
ever
pay per
eats.
view.
Yes.
Pay per view.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
put a
man.
GoPro in there.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.